to having emotional imbalances, which affects their mental health. You find people are irritable, you don't even understand where all that is coming from, but some of these things predispose us as women to having these challenges. I like to talk about trauma bonds, childhood trauma bonds. You see, most of the adults that we see today, everything that you do as an adult is as a result of things that happened to you as a child. We are born as blank slates, as children, and then we observe and we see, and then we behave some type of way. There are some children that were beaten so much as children, they try so hard to impress their parents. So I'm giving this scenario starting from childhood. You try so hard to impress your parents because you're afraid of making a mistake. These are people that now as adults we call the muzungwani konde. They try so hard to please the boss. You all work the same way, you do the same things. But then for them, they have an inner child that they haven't healed because they were so afraid of maybe a stepmom and how they were treated. So whenever there is a figure of authority, they behave some type of way. They sort of shrink when everyone else could be productive in a workplace, but the inner child has not been healed. Everything that has happened to us as children shapes us, how we react in situations. Some people have got avoidant, dismissive type of arrangements, where you're just trying to ask, why did you do this? They enter in panic mode. They start lying and bringing about so many other issues because as a child, they were sort of traumatized in how they were raised. So trauma bonds are real. There is the conscious brain that we are using now to speak, and then there's the subconscious brain. The subconscious brain does not let anything slide, unfortunately. So whatever it is that made you feel some type of way, even when you were younger, needs to be addressed. Because what's going to happen is that the subconscious is going to keep storing all those painful memories, and then you will not know when the subconscious now decides to resolve those things. Those are the moments when sometimes you wake up feeling low or you feel some type of way, but you really can't address what's making you feel like that. The subconscious is telling you to say there's an emotion that happened, there's something that happened that made you feel low, but it wasn't addressed.
So mental health is not just about maybe teenagers, it's just not about children, it's not just about adults. It's across the spectrum,
It's across the spectrum
of life.
Yes.
So parents have an important role to play. Guardians have an important role to play in the way they bring up children
Yes.
or the people that are under their care.
Yes.
So even in homes, there's bullying. I know, for example, that maybe in my generation, when we were growing up, it was the fad. It was the in thing for parents to say, you know, they'll whip you, they'll wallop you, they'll do all these things, and not knowing perhaps that maybe in adulthood, those things may begin to manifest themselves.
Yes.
I know, for example, that even here in church, young people sometimes will come and complain and say, Mama so-and-so or Mommy so-and-so is so brash. You know, she was telling me, why wavala ka dress kaso? Kudala isetenze kumenya bana baso, you know, and all those things. So it's still in our parents, those things. And when they say those things, sometimes it hurts the young people, but they don't know that because that's the way they were brought up. And also for us, those of us of our generation, what are we carrying? Then there's Gen Z, you know, so they are very fragile. So yeah, talking to those childhood traumas, I think is extremely important. So how do we address such things as a church?
Okay, so this is where now counseling comes in. There's a process that we call inner child healing. So in inner child healing, we do what we call childhood therapy, where we ask you to write a letter to your parents or to the people that raised you. What are some of the things that you celebrate? Because we don't just want to take you back to your childhood and give you those painful memories, because some people have had like rough upbringings. So we take you back to your childhood, write some of the things that you celebrate to say, because I experienced this, I'm able to handle so much pressure. Because I was whipped, I'm able to now be this disciplined person. So you highlight the positives first. Then we ask you now to highlight what are some of the pains that you have gone through as a child. So you write, we want you to address everything that you had faced as a child, because we are saying everything that had happened, if at all maybe you felt dad had divorced mom when we were children, you suffer from abandonment trauma. Someone may just, a new relationship, and then someone says, I think we should end the relationship. That rejection is going to affect you more than it should, because then you're not just crying for the current relationship, you're crying for the things that happened to your mom. You're thinking, this is now going to be my story. And rejection has a way of shaping your mind. I wrote about this the other day, to say when you face multiple rejections, the mind sort of creates a false narrative to say you're not good enough, even this will happen again, this will happen. Where still, if you faced multiple rejections, your mind now will think, even when something good happens to me, ma'am, I'll sabotage my own thoughts to say, this can't be true. Obviously, this is going to end.
I like that.
Yeah.
I still go back to the family in the home. Someone was sharing with me yesterday that there's this pretty face, whatever, handsome. So in the home, maybe you have 2, 3 children. One of the children is slim. So according to you as a parent, you think the slim child, has it going. And maybe the one that is a bit chubby has, according to you, they are not the type of child that you want. So you'll be always praising this slim child. You are slim, you are beautiful. Hey, you've got it going. And then maybe this other child is completely neglected in terms of motivation, praise, and being inspired. And so as that child grows up, the child will grow up thinking, I'm a rejected child, okay? Then when that child goes to school, because already it's compounded in the home, you can imagine how she feels in school. So already she's at a disadvantage. So I keep going back to the question that, how do we make ourselves aware, especially as Christians, to ensure that we bring in a balance and these things don't affect our children as they grow. And also, I read a story, I think on social media, we'll come to social media soon, where someone is crying out for help, okay? They're asking, I'm going to take my life. I'll take my life. And people in the public just die. We also have problems. Why can't you just kill yourself? And at the end of the day, this person takes their life. So you can imagine that the sins that we create are many. Some we don't even know. We've actually sent people to their grave because of our comments and our carelessness. So I think mental health is a very big issue. The trauma issues in childhood are something we can't neglect. The social media issues are also something we can't neglect. Can you address social media a little bit?
Okay, so before I even speak on social media, I just wanted to emphasize that parents also need to heal. There's a saying that says, may we heal from our wounds so that we don't bleed on our children. Because there are so many things, like I had said, if you haven't, there's this narrative of saying, as we used to be whipped, so we are going to whip you also. As we were called names, Chichoi, Pachofipa, and whatever, and you keep on passing that. Anyone else can insult me, and I might forget, but if it comes from a parent or from someone who you have an intimate relationship with, there's a way that it sticks. There's a way that your mind will think, this is who I am, because you're emotionally attached to those people. So if you're not to say, these are my children, this is my husband, or this is my wife, your words are as piercing as a knife. So you need to be aware. You need to heal yourself so that you extend. Remember, we always say you can't pour from an empty cup. So if you are filled yourself, if you are mentally healthy, you find that you extend that goodness. Naturally, people will want to be around you. I feel like, when I'm with Natasha, she just gives these good vibes. And then also, speaking on that, ma'am, before I get to the social media, there's what we call trauma bonds or trauma attachments. These are very common. There are people that form friendships based on their trauma. To say, no, we are both divorced, we've both been heartbroken, so we are this movement of, strong people that, that's what has kept you together as friends. You will never heal from the pain that you have gone through, because that person is constantly reminding you of whatever it is that you have gone through. It's okay to remember some of the troubles that you have gone through as a way to address them, but if that is what holds you together, that's a trauma bond.
So for example, widows,
yes,
or widowers,
yes,
and then they just stick together because they are widows,
yes,
and they continue talking about their widowhood,
yes,
and everything.
Yes.
So They will not heal.
They will not heal. And this thing is so deep such that at some point you might in a way find someone that's a suitable partner. But because you wouldn't even want to betray your friends, or they might give you a false narrative to say that even this one is going to leave you or whatsoever, you just feel like that is sort of my identity now of being a widow. I can't be with this other person because what are we going to be talking about with my colleague? These are serious issues that bind people together, pain that we have gone through. Some, not just past pain, past glory also is something that we talk about in trauma. We were both rich kids at some point, but at the current situation, that's not the reality. So we are stuck in some past. You find that, the way we talk, we're just stuck in some past and we are not in touch with reality.
So it doesn't matter if I'm a widow or not, I can befriend anybody.
Yes.
Someone who is married, a single person,
Yes.
and enjoy life and
Yes.
the other facets of life.
Yes.
People that's the past. But the present, perhaps one example could be people that are in school. Maybe since we are a church of a youthful church and most of our members are from universities, they've failed before. So you find those that have failed are packing together.
Yes,
In
they're
other
laughing
words, this
at
is
each
the pack.
other.
No, us we are failures. No, tina failure, but one. So I think for me it's broad, and we need to continue breaking it down so that we understand that whatever happens to us in life should not define us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, now moving to the social media that you have spoken about, there's a digital shift now. People are more online, even children apparently have access to phones, but then also social media creates a false narrative. So there's a lot of fake lives. No one is posting their failures, everyone is posting what's happening. I remember we posted a picture with my husband and someone says, if my marriage is not like this, then I don't want it. That's not a very simple statement. A lot of people like saying this, if this person doesn't love me like this, then I don't want them. Are you sure that that picture that you have seen in 5 minutes should really define what you want to be or what you want to have for the rest of your life? You have no idea how someone has lived or what they have acquired. How is it that Mam Chawelwa is driving this car? How did she acquire this job? How is she always found with these people? That's what we are seeing on social media. But how much sleepless nights did she actually have? What has she really put in? Most people on social media were actually doing a research on how social media addiction is an actual thing, an actual addiction that actually needs therapy. Those notifications, the sounds of the notification and the lights, we're doing a research to actually find, and the findings are showing that it's in the near future, it's going to be an addiction that we are going to be admitting at the rehab facility where I work.
know that. I know because in I think it's in the United Kingdom, they now have rehabilitation centers for addiction, social media, IT addiction. They do have rehabilitation centers for that. And so before we get there, maybe we are even there, it's just that as a nation or a country, we don't have the resources. We have so many things going on, cholera, COVID, we have a drought now. So for the government to invest in rehabilitation of that nature may not be the priority. Yes. So we want to open up questions on the floor and just hear what people, the audience here in church has to say. But there is a lot. There are a lot of mental health issues that cut across the whole spectrum of a human being. Even grandmothers, do you know that they have trauma?
Yes.
They have mental health issues. I can talk about my own mother, for example. Because she's not energetic anymore, we can't take her where we are going, maybe for a wedding and whatever. She feels so left out and so lonely, thinking that now it's my end. Nobody wants to talk to me. Maybe you are busy. She'll be calling me, hey, Flora, come and sit here. But I'm so busy, I have to look for food to put so that she's also comfortable as a parent. So we need to continue discussing this. And it is my prayer that on the 2nd, which is next month, 2nd of March, next Sabbath, we are going to have a very serious mental health program. It's International Day of Prayer for Women. And we are not going to sit here and talk. We are going to go through exercises, like you said, writing letters to ourselves, sitting in groups, the young men discussing what are the issues what are the issues that cause us mental anguish, the young ladies, the elderly women, and then try and bring it together so that we help ourselves as a church. It will be sad to hear that one day one of our church members has taken their life because nobody was there to help them, heal in whatever they are going through. In fact, someone was saying we should go outside and scream, oh, we can't just let it go because we have so much going on. Yes, thank you very much. I'll open it up to the audience now. If we have questions, please, on mental health issues. We are talking about mental health resilience in our faith and our daily walk. Anybody in the audience? Yes, ma'am. So please, you can get in touch with us here at church. We are also trying to bring specialists and professionals. If you give us the feedback on days when we are not worshiping, maybe even a weekday in the evening when people are free to come and, speak to specialists who can help you if you have any issues to do with mental health. Yes, Sister Milim.
Good afternoon, church. I think my question goes to Sister Wanga. She mentioned of people having trauma bonds because they feel they're in the same kind of space. I don't know how would you help those that have come up with support groups, maybe because they feel they're passing through a certain kind of situations? Is that a wrong thing to do? Or those support groups are okay because they feel like because they're in the same space, they're able to talk about the same things and they're able to understand one another at a certain level? Because I believe when you've gone through a certain thing, it takes the other person who's been through that situation to understand you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So like I had said, a trauma bond just ends on the bonding part. That's what brings you together. Just that talking about those issues, and it has sort of become your label and your identity. Say, no, maybe we are orphans, so we are underprivileged, we can't have access to certain things because we lost our parents at a certain age. But when it moves now from just being a trauma bond to having a support group, the term support in itself, it means you want to better whatever it is that you are going through, and you want to address whatever trauma that you had undergone. So that one becomes a whole different case. But also, how long are you in that support group for? Because you need to move on now to say, I've received the support that I needed. I have now gotten the help. For as long as you spend more time in there, you, like I've said, you constantly be reminded of that pain, and it will be difficult for you to move forward.
Very interesting question and interesting answer. Any other question?
Okay, thank you so much, Sister Natasha, for that information. We really appreciate. So, I've got a question. What message do you have to those vulnerable orphans who are staying maybe in their various places, whereby they can't really receive the love that they used to receive maybe from the parents that they have? Yes, maybe where they are staying, there's that segregation. Yes, they can't really receive that care. I don't know. So what message do you really have to those vulnerable orphans?
Okay. So there's a saying that goes, the same water that hardens the egg softens the potato. So the same boiling water that hardens the egg softens the potato. There are some people that have gone through horrible situations but have managed to pull out and have managed to, make the best out of those moments. Look out for people that have similar stories with you but have managed to thrive. Instead of you looking out for people that have the same horrible stories and then you sit and then you talk about that. There are so many people, even within the church, that you can ask. They've gone through so much, but when you look at where they are now, it's a testimony indeed. So like I've said, we have very little to change about the past. But like we mentioned, there's what we call inner child healing. So we address that child to say it was beyond you losing your parents. No one ever plans to lose their parents. So we want that child to heal, and we have a therapeutic session with you to just help that child. We would say it was beyond you, but look at you now. You're here sitting, you can make decisions. You can be happy. We can have a self-care plan for you and something that you can do to just sort of move away from that. You're not that child anymore. You're here. So also we use the 5 senses. When there's what we call the 5 senses theory. Whenever you find yourself, they say misery loves the dark. Eh? At night, you sort of just remember every bad thing that you're going through. So the 5 senses therapy is where you use your 5 senses to say, what can I see? You count the 5 things that you can see. So I see the bulb, I see the window, I see the what. What can I feel? I can feel my blanket, I can feel the pillow. What can I hear? Oh, there are dogs barking. That's in the night. Eh? That's a practice to tell your mind that you're here now. So it's a discipline. Every time you feel like you're wallowed in thoughts, you know those thoughts where you even start crying like it's happened again, just use the 5 senses. What can I taste? Always go with a glass of water. You taste some water. Your mind is now coming to the present to say we are not there, we are here now, and we are okay. That has happened, but we've sort of moved. We are better now.
I like that because pain sometimes takes you into this void, this dark place where you just want to float away and go. I think that's the time when many of people that have mental trauma slash their veins. That's when they even commit suicide, take substances, drug abuse, just to get out of that situation. Maybe abuse alcohol and so on. So even just I know a friend who can give me a joint. You get a joint, you feel high. You are out of that high. So it becomes a problem. And I think we have underplayed mental health a lot, even in our church. We need to start the discussions and not hide things under the carpet. It will not help us.
I'm burning to talk about addiction now that you've said it. Can I just, in a minute?
Please go ahead.
So most people we judge these people we call junkies. I work with recovering drug addicts. So let me just help you understand the concept of how someone becomes an addict. So the brain produces something called dopamine. It's a feel-good hormone. So on an average day, the way we are sitting here, ma'am, dopamine is at 40 to 50. When someone eats food that they like, dopamine moves to like 94. When people are in marriage and they have intercourse, it's about 96. When someone takes in a glass of alcohol, dopamine moves to 1,200. That feeling of feeling good. You remember the normal is 40 to 50, 94, 96, that's very, at least on the top. 100 is the max, but when you take a bottle of alcohol, it's 1,200. So now the brain says, this is too much. This is too much happiness. It's going to kill you. Let's suppress. So it suppresses that dopamine. So for you to feel good, again, you need to double the intake. So you've heard of people that say, me, I can finish a whole crate and I don't even get drunk, or I can take in so much. So the brain is downgrading that dopamine. So this is going to kill you. This is not the normal happiness levels. So now what happens is no one knows the point when you cross, because now the brain tricks itself into thinking for us to function, for us to ever be happy, we need to take alcohol. Those are the people now that start shaking before they do anything. Early in the morning they're shivering because their mind now has been tricked completely into thinking for us to function, we need to take in the alcohol. So unfortunately, the brain becomes diseased. So that's why it's very difficult to even stop someone who has reached addiction. So just stop taking alcohol, it's bad, because now it has become a whole condition. So I just got triggered when you talked about addiction, that we should also see how we can help people that are suffering from alcoholism in the church. Let's see that they get the needed therapy. There are techniques that we use at the rehab center to make sure they let go of that. So if you're at a stage where you can stop, they say the chains of addiction are too light to be felt until they are too heavy to be cut off. So right now you won't feel them. They are too light, you're heading there. But still they are too heavy to cut off. Then you realize, can't I'm on the addiction side. So let's really look out for that.
So they say prevention is better than cure. Let's not come and start sermonizing. We have drunkards here. We have people that smoke dagga. We have this. when we can actually prevent most of these things from taking place. You know, no, we have angry people. I know sometimes I smile at people in the church. I'm smiling at this person. They are not smiling back. You can tell they are not in the present. They are not with you. They've come to church indeed, but they have so many issues going on with them. So I wish to thank you so much, Natasha. I know it's a big, big topic which we need to break down as we go on. But like I said, it's the beginning, it's a start. We can continue planning around these things. And I want to thank you as young women in the church. I see so many in the audience, and I'm excited that Young Adventist Women Ministries, we have a lot of work to do and to share with the church, not only amongst ourselves, but with our elderly people in the church, with the teenagers in the church. They have so many issues going on. You are fat, you are black. You may have gone through that. Why are you so black? I'm like, I'm black and happy. You know, why are you know, like, remodifying your DNA and putting on these creams that are damaging you? So we need to give them skills to be able to defend themselves, because a person, it's the heart, it's the soul of that person. I like to give example of Mama Mwale, not because she's here, that she's a happy soul. You know, she's happy the way she is. She'll dress up. You know, she'll work hard. Whatever she touches to do, she'll do it to the glory of God. So nobody should ever put you down. Nobody should ever put you down, no matter at what age you are. But the most vulnerable are the children, because they are defenseless. They are so defenseless. I've heard children here who would tell you, my dad hit me against the wall or something like that. And the father is a church member. So please, let's continue discussing. And your last words, Natasha.
Thank you very much. Now, in the Adventist church, we talk about the new start, but I feel like we don't emphasize how strong this is in relation to our mental health. The new start, the N for nutrition, whatever it is that you eat affects your mind. Let's avoid the junk food and all those things, and the caffeines and the chocolates and the Coca-Colas that we are addicted to. Let's avoid that. The E is for exercise. There's good stimulation that comes to the mind when you exercise a lot. Also, if you feel like that you're someone that has high tempers, avoid aggressive exercises like going to the gym to punch things. You're training your mind to respond aggressively when there's no punching bag, to be a person that you're going to punch. So try light exercises like simple walk in the evening or a light jog. That's what we recommend when you know that you're someone that has tempers. Water, let's take 6 to 8 glasses a day. The sunshine, the morning sunshine stimulates the mind from sunrise to about 9 hours, and also from 16 to about 17 or sunset. That sun is very good for your mental health. T is temperance, a discipline to have everything in moderation. When you eat food in moderation, do everything in moderation, don't exaggerate things. It's a discipline also for your mental health. The A is for air. Open your windows early in the morning. That morning air stimulates your mind. The R is for rest. Please get 6 to 8 hours of rest, as we say. And then T is for trusting God and trusting the process. I always say, if you can remember a pain and you're not crying about it today the way you cried then, that should signal to you that time does indeed heal all wounds. If I'm fine now, I mean, I can remember, but I'm not crying the way I was screaming that day. That time that has brought me here, and the time going forward, I'm going to be fine. So just trust God and trust that things will get better. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It was our pleasure today as Women Ministries of Jacaranda International Community Church to host Natasha Chikalipa, a member of the Young Adventist Women Ministries. We look forward to our next program next month in March, where we'll be looking at dress and grooming, and our presenter for the talk will be Sister Mambo Mwimbu. Thank you. Signing off is your anchor, Florence Chawelwa. Goodbye.